Three, two, one. Good afternoon. This is the Nifty Alpha. I'm here with my co-host Nifty Nick, and I'm Pio. How's it going, Nick?
It's going great. Well, it almost was not great. I'll be completely honest. I thought I was about to lose my shit on this time drop, and I saw other people did as well. It was not a good thing.
So that seems to be the news of the hour, is that what every single person that has been in the NFT space for longer than 1 month said came true exactly to a T, which is that the Time magazine drop, which was structured basically like I guess I'll call it a traditional drop, but basically structured identical to, say, Stoner Cats, which is massive demand because of a brand name, and basically is it?
Well, yeah,
Nick, you would know.
I guess so. Yeah.
I was going to say, you would know this part better than me. Was the contract poorly written, and that was part of it?
It wasn't that the contract was poorly written. That wasn't an issue with it. The contract was written fine. I think the main issue had to do with the fact of how they structured the drop. They got a room with Farouk and all these other people hyping it the day before, hyping it the day of, and then decided to do it off their own custom contract. That by itself, it was guaranteed to mint out essentially because everyone was anticipating this drop. At Time magazine, there's a bunch of phenomenal artists. I think that the fact that there were so many huge brands associated with, especially on the artist side and primarily on the artist side, meant that it was going to sell out regardless, because you would have bought those artists, especially at the price that they were offering it, which was 0.1 ETH, which was almost like, what? You put together this drop and you did this for 0.1 ETH? Like, it doesn't, I don't know. The price didn't make any sense. And the fact that they were doing this much hype around it was just like this guaranteed to lose situation, both for Time and for anyone who wanted to participate. So yeah, it was not a good look. What's weird is that like they had spent, I should say, I'm supposed to be speaking with the president of Time magazine next week to do an interview with him, which had gotten postponed. Maybe he'll talk about some of this, but essentially right now, if I look at the data, basically there's been now nearly $14 million in secondary sales of the Time magazine piece, which is crazy because there was I think their total drop amount was something like 1.4 million or something. So it made no sense, the structure of it. The demand was so significant. The artist could have immediately made more as well. Now they're getting paid out of secondary. But the real question is like, how are they like distributing that secondary? Is everyone equally getting paid through that? I don't know the logistics of it, but the bottom line at this point is like, it wasn't a good look. And I genuinely thought I was about to lose over 4 ETH because I accidentally clicked the accept button. And I was not thinking straight at the moment. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is that mistake. Like, this is going to be that mistake that I made. So, yeah.
I mean, good God. And thank God you were able to get out of that because you're savvy. But I bet there's a lot of people that are newer
I
to the
wasn't
space.
savvy in that moment. I was panicking. I wrote on Twitter. I was like, hey, does anyone know how to get out of this? A couple people messaged me about the nonce trick. And I was like, okay, yes. So I went and like sent myself, you can basically send yourself a transaction that's going to go through just by sending yourself money.
Push it through the same.
Yeah, through the same nonce. But like, holy cow, that was like a scary situation.
I mean, that's absolutely terrifying. And that's kind of the risk that you run with a drop like this if you're holding the amount of ETH that could be withdrawn, right? And there's also been so many stories of people getting hacked right now. There's really a lot going on these different fronts in the space. A comment on the Time drop here is that people need to understand that building hype before a drop, we've seen this a bunch of times. We saw it with the Sevens drop. The Oni Force drop had a massive gas war, although people didn't seem as fired up about that one. But the thing is building hype before the drop
people were really furious about Oni Force. Are you kidding?
Okay, I didn't recall.
But the Sevens was way bigger issue. Yeah, so you're right about that.
Well, building all this hype before a drop, the goal is to sell out the drop. And like Time Magazine, with all these kick-ass artists, they were going to sell out the drop. So there were a couple of ways they could have done it. Either raise the price, right? Because look, we have a 3.4 ETH floor right now, and who knows how much it actually costs for. I think people were spending like 3 ETH or something to mint the thing, right? Like between the gas and the cost. So my message to like Time, for example, is why are you having it so that people donate all that ETH to the miners, right? Because the gas fee goes to the miners. It's not like the gas fee goes to Time. Why not actually just make the drop more expensive? If anything, that's one thing that Stoner Cats might have gotten right with their 0.3 drop price. But I think we're finding through these drops, and like the real price discovery is happening. And maybe the price discovery on this, the actual price should have been 1.5 ETH or 1 ETH. And I know people would say that's expensive, but look, when there's more demand than supply and the gas would be out of control, something has to be done. There's better ways to do
Dutch
it.
auction. Artblocks does this already. So they already
Yeah,
do. They
yeah.
started at 15 ETH price and they work their way down. And oftentimes it gets down to 3 ETH or even lower. But yes, who knows how this is going to actually play out? But well, we saw it. We saw how it played out. But it was interesting because the people that are involved, I don't want to name names and like call people out because I think people probably like they were well intentioned. I don't think they were like looking for it to go down this way. I, yeah, I don't want to go out beyond that. I want to not just like lambast people by name in this space. And frankly, some of them have been like some of the people that were participants have been like podcast guests of mine that helped actually develop the entire thing.
Yeah.
I know that they probably, everyone wants their reputation to be upheld and to have a positive reputation. So no one intentionally goes in just saying like, we really want to screw this up. I think what they also simultaneously want to do is do a drop and make money during this moment in time, which feels like it could disappear sometime soon, essentially. Because that's the moment that we all have to be feeling like, how long will it be before people aren't consistently making individuals 150 grand plus, groups of people over $1.5 million on the regular? Like, how long is it going to be until that stops? And my guess is it's sometime in the next, definitely in the next 6 months. It's a time arbitrage right now. So basically, because Gary Vee keeps talking about the supply is too much. The supply is too much is what he used to say. But I'm like, no, the supply actually isn't enough. The reason is like there's tons of talented people, but most of them are not in this space right now. And the market was always available for those individuals. And there's a lot of people that support people on Patreon and places like that. That's the comparison of what I look at in terms of this business. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Over the next few months, a ton of talented people are coming on. We had them, one person in Spaces this morning. She was talking about a friend of hers, but I know like all the Silicon Valley people are saying like, what the hell am I doing? What, like, why am I working right now? I'm going to go make a couple $1 million. Like that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously, I think that there's going to be fewer and fewer just straight profile picture, no real utility, even though they're presenting a roadmap type projects. But there's going to be an appetite for leveraging NFT technology to deliver value to customers, right? It's the modern fan club. So I think of Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu is the co-founder of Quest Nutrition, the co-founder of Impact Theory, popular podcaster, a business guru type person. Think of Gary Vee, but maybe with a smaller audience, right? Tom Bilyeu is putting out an NFT next month. Whether or not the NFT market is hot, there is a market to buy Tom Bilyeu's NFT. Like, I'm in that market. I will buy that even if the market is cooled down because I want the access, the utility that an NFT like that will provide. We don't know what that is yet. We don't know what the access is. We don't know what the utility is, but I have a hunch that it's going to be something that's pretty good if you're into Tom Bilyeu. If you're a Tom Bilyeu fan and you want to, rock with him, I'd imagine that it'll be pretty good. So yes, at the macro level, the market is insanely hot right now. There's still a ton of new money coming in. We hear people on our morning space talk about like, oh, I'm a week into the NFT space. I'm a month into the NFT space. So there's definitely new people, new money coming in. But the space itself isn't going anywhere. And though there could be a bear market, you have to think like, VFriends 2 comes out in January. It doesn't matter what the market conditions are in January. I'm going to ape into VFriends 2. And so are a lot of other people. And how much is that going to cost? So these are the things, that you kind of have to think about when you're looking at it. But I agree with you that time is of the essence. But if you're Time
Time
Magazine,
is of the essence.
but if you're Time Magazine, I think you could probably sell at a drop even in crypto winter.
Yes. So, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't subscribe to Time Magazine. I'm aware of Time Magazine. Great. Like they're a magazine. They've been around for a long time. They were selling some of their covers. I feel like what they managed to do is leverage their brand to get a bunch of the best artists on board. A lot of the people who were on that drop happened to be at a Christie's event that I was at, where the Time Magazine guy was also there, Keith, and he basically just said, "Hey, do you want to be part of this drop?" I mean, that it's as simple as that. That's kind of what went down here. And so it feels like it's his sort of baby in combination with the creative director over at Time Magazine. I mean, it's a success in the amount of sales that is occurring. It's just not successful in the way that it went down. That's the only thing that happened, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And if you're going to enter the Ethereum minting NFT space, you got to be ready to be attacked by a bunch of the people in the ecosystem who are saying like, "Oh, they did this the wrong way," blah 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 blah. And it's really hard. The hard thing with this is, I mean, this is 4.7 thousand items. They're up to 1.1 thousand owners, but like there's a lot of people just like pulling those NFTs together, and it's a lotto that you may end up winning at some point. But ultimately, yeah, I don't know. It advantaged people with the most know-how with this drop and with the most ETH. Like that's what happened, and it seemed like the entry price tried to position it as something else. So
And wasn't there something too? One of our listeners sent us something on Twitter DM. I don't know if you saw that, where it was a thread about how people were able to use bots to get in on this, minting directly from contract. Did you read that?
how they? Sorry, oh yes, I read. I have that on my screen right here. So
Okay, do
yes,
you want to share your screen?
sure. Okie dokie. Here we are. You can see it.
Yes, sir.
Let me explain this code to you, Pia. I'm just kidding. That's I was gonna. But anyways, this came on. This code this guy shared, which is essentially a way that he articulated how to bought it and purchase 25. That's what this code ended up doing. And so it would just loop through and keep running until it minted the correct amount. This is really basic code, but it's helpful to see. The other thing I figured I would share here is just the total volume that I'm looking at, and it keeps updating. This is from the Nifty.com, but yeah, it's up to 14.2 million. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation that we have here. This is sales floor price, by the way. This is not the stated floor price on the website. I have to feature it for that to happen. But anyways, yeah, 14.2 million. It's a great Thursday.
I'd say it is, yeah. And I mean, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see a post reveal what the hell the story is. It looks like it's still selling regularly at north of 2-3 ETH. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I thought we might also talk about this other project that you had been pretty interested in, which is Superlative Secret Society, and just see what's going on. What's going on with that one? Have you been paying attention to it?
Yeah, because I was the one that mentioned it. Yeah. So in terms of, I tried to mint it. I couldn't mint it. I mentioned it on the space yesterday. I hopped in and almost bought one right off of OpenSea. The floor was down, but they minted straight to a reveal. So while the image didn't initially show up, you could find out what was on each of the contracts. Yesterday, there were some arbitrage opportunities. There were extremely rare ones selling for 1 ETH I saw. And I was like, should I just buy this? Because someone turned around and flipped it for 1.5. But it was one of the 15 rarest forms of the superlative one. And I'm like, okay, well, this project looks dope. Why wouldn't I get one of the most rare ones for 1 ETH? Like, it seemed like a good buy. If you actually scroll down, you can check out the filters there. Actually has the way I end up getting it is if you go to the filter for the background, I believe.
Yep.
And then just scroll down till and check off like the three or four most rare items. So
Like this?
these, yes. So, and just look at
Let me
buy
go
now.
buy now.
Okay, 1.8.
Wow.
So like I was like, oh, I could buy one for 1 and turn around and sell that for more. That 1.5 one, see that said sold last 1.5. That was the one I almost bought for 1 ETH basically. But it's interesting that other one's sitting there selling for 1.8, which just to me says
Screams
like,
arbitrage.
kind of, if you think that this thing is going to the moon. How many are fit within this filter? If you turn off buy now, how many fit within this filter that you have?
If we turn off buy now, right now there's 8. If we turn off buy now, there's 39.
So you're getting one of the 39 most rare ones of these for potentially 1 point, what was that? 69 ETH or something like that. To me,
One
that's
point.
1.8.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I just think like, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, if this thing is going to moon, that's the type of bet that I'm interested in, basically. And so there's a lot of activity. There's a decent amount of secondary activity in the market right now. When I look at on the Nifty.com again, when I check it out, it's the 4th most popular right now. Now, the way that tab for trending sales actually shows up is it's over the past 3 hours. So there's been 129 sales there. Compare that with Time, which had 1,475 secondary sales so far within the past 3 hours. The Sandbox next up had 251. Then Angry Boars, not to be confused with Angry Bears, had a lot of items being sold. So anyways,
Angry Boars. I've not seen Angry Boars. I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm not minting these, but yeah, you're gonna have to remove your filters. But I don't know.
You mean this is, you're not all about this? He's got octopus tentacles on his nose.
With snot coming out of it, green goo coming out of his nose.
And a pink mohawk.
No, I'm not doing that. So
I'm boorish on this. I'm boorish.
okay. That was very funny. I definitely do not own this one. But if you check out, what was the one that I was gonna say? Anyways, the main point is, yeah, Superlative Secret Society seems interesting. They just went with a large supply, and these sorts of things are just like offensive. Like, who is this team that ended up like launching this? They seem like they're anonymous, and so there's just a lot of questions that I have about like who's doing that. Time Magazine, a well-known established brand, did not even launch with 11,000. They could have sold 20,000 of those items with that drop, basically. They sold out in 1 minute. So like, I don't know. It just feels like it's just a weird drop. And for like this is on the polar opposite where they sold out as well at 0.07. I don't know how you got access to it because I tried to mint and it just said this thing is not active. But and I just don't have time to go into every single one of these Discords. Speaking of which, I'm interested in hiring somebody to go inside of all the Discords.
Literally just, you're going to be Nick's Discord mole.
Are you looking to hang out in Discord literally all day? Reach out to me.
He'll pay you $1 an hour, $24 a day. Top Shot.
I can afford to pay slightly more than that. Come on, Pio.
I know. Top Shot Andrew said, here's some alpha. The Poe app for the Time Magazine and Farouk episode of Rug Radio, but then he put possible whitelist. I don't know what that means right there. I know the Poe app. I understand.
That's the opposite of alpha because the problem is when you deliver alpha is you have to actually explain what it is.
Well, I think Farouk's been dropping POAPs that actually have been appreciating in value, which is savage, and which also makes me think that we need to start dropping POAPs for the Nifty
I'm
Alpha
in
morning
touch with the
space to
POAP
show.
team actually. So we are I've been designing one that we can actually use. So we
Hell
do
yeah.
have plans to do that. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of opportunity on that front. Basically, ultimately, where I think that what really happens is those NFTs do become whitelist. It increases the value of those, and the only downside is you have to buy. You got to go through this collection, the Pope collection.
Yeah, it's hard to filter. It's like really hard. But I do think that there have been some significant sales of
Well, you're
POAPs
looking at
from
these right now.
Farouk's.
So let's just say what the price is. It's 0.08, 0.1. So that's the current price right now. If you get the Rug Radio Keith Grossman, uh, sometimes 0.02, 0.03. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to pay gas. That's your expense. You have to attend the event. You get snapshotted. You can then claim the POAP. You pay gas to get the POAP from the POAP site to OpenSea so that you can sell it on OpenSea. And then you probably have to, I guess you'll probably have to pay a fee one time to be able to list POAPs forever. That's my assumption. It's a very negligible fee. So this is basically 0.07, 0.08, 0.1 that's created out of thin air. It's created because of the attendance that you provided to Rug Radio. And thus it incentivizes people to show up for those spaces. It makes the numbers look stronger. And, it's just kind of a win actually overall for everybody. I'm assuming there's also a resale fee. Nick, do you know if POAP gets the resale fee or if the creator of the POAP gets a piece of it too?
It's definitely going to be POAP in this case. But I don't know the whole deal with this. I'm about to publish a podcast with the founder of POAP, but we didn't actually go into details about this specific subject, which is these items. But anyways, great. That's POAP. I don't want to like us announce something that we haven't even done yet. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, in the POAP space. And what they're turning into kind of in an interesting way here unintentionally. They started with events was where they saw most of their activity. I think what they're turning into with this is essentially a potential way for creators to monetize is a quick way for creators to monetize, because otherwise I have to create our own NFT. It would be interesting to compare the two things actually at some point. Us deploy a contract and mint an NFT of an event, which is free to access. You can go straight to that contract. The problem is you need to whitelist it. So there's a whole process with that. The same thing goes with POAP. You have to whitelist it for it. So like Farouk says, go fill out this spreadsheet, and then you fill out the spreadsheet and you get access to it, and you make 100, 200, or in the case of some of them, which were as high as 0.5, 0.7 the other day. Yeah, I mean, that's the potential that you can sort of like, there's a lot of potential. That's the bottom line. So, and the upside of the POAP thing is that you can distribute it without gas, and POAP's eating the cost of that right now, but they're not going to be able to do that indefinitely.
Definitely not. Well, we have a hard stop here in a minute. Nick, any closing thought?
Yeah, go join the nifty.com, subscribe, make sure to, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hello, that's where we're streaming from. But if you're seeing this, there's actually a better chance that you're on Twitter and not subscribed. If you're now on YouTube and you're watching it now, thank you so much. Really grateful that you're actually joining us and spending time with us, acting completely foolish and providing random commentary on the NFT space. But we really do appreciate it. So yeah, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to get to, what is it, 100 subscribers right now on YouTube. So
we only need 14 more. Come on now, Twitter. Pop on YouTube, NFT Alpha. I mean, I got the link over there. You got to go on to YouTube and you got to subscribe. You just have to do it.
That's true. Once we hit 100, it becomes easier for us to say it because we can say YouTube / the right URL, and we can't do that right now. Without your help, help these children, help the youth, help, let's donate to a cause, which is our YouTube channel. We really need 13 more subscribers. I would never
you
say
need
something
help.
like this on Twitter. This is like on Twitter where people are like, oh my God, I just want to celebrate the fact that I hit 20,000. You all are so great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, this doesn't make any sense. I don't like doing that sort of thing. But on YouTube, we can definitely do it. Chill for the subscribers.
All right. Well, I got a hard stop. Thanks for watching, everyone.